So right now, just certain areas, I'm tapping, so it'll still kind of give it some of the similar effect, but now you can actually put in a little bit of detail in some of the other spots. Hello everyone, my name is Naso, and I want to welcome you to my art studio. I'm going to show you how easy it is to actually paint with oil paints. So grab your paintbrush, grab your paints, and let's get going. Right here is actually a 16 by 20 canvas. It's already got a coat of liquid white on it, which in my version, the way I actually make liquid white, is to go ahead and take some titanium white and mix it with linseed oil. So you get a nice thin coating where you can actually go ahead and scrape it off and apply it with a palette knife. And then you just take a 2-inch brush and you go through the entire canvas and make sure it's got a nice thin coat over it. So if you touch it, you actually see a little on your finger, but you don't want to put too much on there. So anyway, it's going to be pretty simple. We have a 2-inch brush and we're going to be working with about a half a dozen colors. I will go ahead and put those across the screen so you can see what they are. So right now with the 2-inch brush, just going to take a little bit of phthalo blue and tap it in there. Let's go ahead and do crisscross strokes. We'll go ahead and start with the sky. We'll work down or up. We'll work from the top and go down. Now this is mixing with the liquid white underneath, so it actually helps it blend really nice and easy and get a nice clean look. We're going to go about halfway down. Now we're going to let this part on the bottom stay a little lighter. That's fine. And we'll keep the top part darker. And we just want to cover this whole thing. And just going back and forth a little bit with the brush to go ahead and blend out some of the brush strokes. Nice simple little sky. So right now it's just phthalo blue on top of the liquid white. Now I'm going to use a fan brush. I'm going to go ahead and put in some clouds, just a few, and this is actually a number 2 fan brush. So we're just going to go ahead and go right into the titanium white. And you want to get a decent amount on there. Okay. And put in some clouds. So let's start right through here. You could almost put clouds anywhere. Just think light and fluffy. Just floating around in the sky. We'll put some over here too. Let's see. You put them anywhere you want. Some more right through here. Let's go. So let's say we're kind of experimenting. Sometimes you don't know what it looks like until after you're done. That's alright. That's what makes it so fun. Okay, so back to the 2-inch brush, we're just going to use the corner of the brush and grab the bottom, and I'm going in small circles and lightly touching the canvas. So it just blends them out. We'll have some clouds in no time. The nice part with this, doesn't take long. You can have clouds in just a few minutes. Looks like you worked hours on them. Okay, so now you could take the 2-inch brush and kind of blend up, but this is actually a blender brush. So I'm just going to tap it just a little bit to clean it up, but I still want the vibrancy. So I'm not going to do a whole lot to it. We'll wipe it off on the napkin. And the blender brush is actually just really soft, so it doesn't leave brush strokes like the regular 2-inch brush. So it helps it clean it up a little bit. So I'm just tapping. We don't want to put a whole lot of work into this because we're just going to make a simple little painting. There we go. So let's set that aside for now. Back to the 2-inch brush, go back into the phthalo blue, and now we're going to start from the edge and move in. And we'll go up to about there. So you don't want to start here because you'll leave a mark, which actually takes a lot more effort to actually get it out. So if you start from the sides and move in, actually makes it lots easier. Looking like water already. So we'll grab some more phthalo blue, put it on the brush, tap it. It actually helps even it out, even the paint out with your bristles. And we want to start about the same area and just do the opposite. We're going to leave this area in the middle white and open. That way it actually leaves a shine on the water. Move that in. Let's go in a little bit more here. And not so much there. Alright. So with a clean, dry brush, we're just going to go ahead and go all the way across and kind of blend this together. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and use this palette knife. So you can see it's got a nice small edge on the top, big edge on the bottom. Right now we're looking for this big edge. We're going to take some phthalo blue. Let's put it right here. And this is violet. I'll mix them together. And let's take some cad red. What we're looking for right now is actually a nice dark color. So mix it together really well. going to take a small roll on the tip of the knife, and let's see where we want our mountain. Let's start up about here. Just put that in there. Grab a little bit more. Now, if you have a special way you want to make your mountain, you're welcome to do whatever you want. So this is just going to be the coating that goes under the mountain, so it actually helps give it a little bit of character. But we're going to put snow and stuff on top. Get some more here, and let's bring this down a little bit more. Go up a little. And again, you could do this any way you want. Maybe you don't want any mountains at all. Don't have to put mountains in here. So what I'm doing now is just taking a palette knife and making sure that the paint is rubbed into the canvas really good. You could use very firm pressure with this. Very hard to rip your canvas. And in this case, this is canvas board, so even more difficult to rip. Yeah, they're really good. Now I left some space here, I left some space here, and I left some space here. There's a reason for that. Okay, so now let's go ahead with the palette knife. Let's take off any excess. Too much paint with this application, this technique, will actually make it a lot more difficult for the next step. So take off as much as you can, and the only thing left will be a slight stain of where the paint used to be, which is perfect. So now I'm going back to the 2-inch brush. Still got some of the paint from the sky, so I want to go ahead and rub that off. And we're going to go ahead and take it, press really hard, and pull it. Now you can pull it in the way that the mountain would be sloping. And right here, do the same thing. And here, let's go this way. So you could already see, just from doing this, some of the shadow effect, and it starts making the mountain. So it makes it really simple. Take this right here, blend it out. So just by taking this and bringing it down right in front, it actually brings this mountain in front of this one. It's that simple. Do some really cool stuff, really nice and easy and fast. Just kind of blending it out a little bit. a 2-inch brush. This makes this really fast. So I'm going to wash my brush. I use odorless mineral spirits, so we'll just go ahead and wash it. And I like to dry it on a paper towel. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to use some titanium white and pull it out like that, nice and flat. And then we're going to go ahead and get a small little bead of paint on the edge of the knife. So really lightly, I'm going to take it up to the top of the peak. Just bring it down. If you use too much pressure, you won't get the breaking effect. And the breaking effect is what makes it look like snow. So, a little bit more up here. Get some more. Again, run it flat and pull off a little paint. And again, let's start up from this peak and just run it down. So I'm just tapping in a little bit of color, or a little bit of white. I think it will look nice. Let's go ahead and indent here a little bit. So it'll be a little bit artistic, and then we can come back out here for another peak. Just bring that down. Let's go right here. Let's do this. Start bringing this all together. So now I'll take some white. Mix it with a little phthalo blue. That way we have a shadow. There we go. Get a little more titanium white. A little more phthalo blue. And mix this together really nice. Take off a chunk, and we'll start from here, and let's go up to the top, and again we'll do the same thing, just bring this down. And that gives it a little bit of a shadow effect. Make it a little darker. Cut off a chunk, and again let's go up here. Of course, if this is a new technique for you, the more you do it, the better you're going to get. So I encourage you to practice. And maybe, if this is your first time using these techniques, it can actually turn out really good with very little effort. Okay, let's go up here, get a little more. And let's see, let's get a piece right here. So right now, just certain areas, I'm tapping, so it'll still kind of give it some of the similar effect, but now you can actually put in a little bit of detail in some of the other spots. There's a lot of hilly, sharp points and stuff, so these sharp points actually show up as light and dark. So grab your 2-inch brush, make sure it's good and dry. We don't want any paint on this, or any turpentine or thinner or anything like that. We want it as dry and clean as possible. And now what we're going to do is actually tap the bottom. And this will give the illusion of mist. So you don't want to go all the way up, just on the bottom. And some points, some areas can be higher than others. You definitely don't want it all even. So it actually helps with the effect. So I have this looking like it's coming here, this going up this way. This going down here. and just tapping. So it looks like the mountain's dipping into the mist. Tap that. That actually helps just clean up the edges and stuff too. Simple effect that goes a long way. There we go. Let's go ahead and create a little bit more of the mist through here. So now again, let's go ahead and get some dark color. What I'm going to do is we'll start right here. Just go ahead and run this through. We're going to put a mountain in the front of this mountain. So this one's going to stay a little bit darker. The darker colors will come forward. The lighter colors actually go back. And that's due to atmosphere. Some people like to refer to that as atmospheric perspective. Let's go ahead and go here, start here, down, up. So you're kind of drawing on your canvas even though you're painting. Okay. So I'm just rubbing this into the canvas. I'm just taking the palette knife and grabbing it firmly and rubbing the paint in there. So again, let's go ahead and try to take some of this off. Don't need a whole lot. The dark colors, especially the phthalo blues, or the dark blues, they'll actually stain your canvas really well. So now let's go ahead and take with the corner of the brush, we'll bring it down. So it kind of blends into mist. These extra layers like this actually start helping with distance, so it gives your painting depth. Now, we'll grab a little bit more of the darker color, just a little bit, and now let's go ahead and start right about here. And we'll do another hill that goes right in front, goes all the way down. Let's go down to about here. Okay, so start up here and cut across this way. And keep some of that white in there. That's going to be the point where it actually shows better distance. That there's something actually separating it. Bring this in. Again, just kind of rubbing it into the canvas. Scrape off the excess. And this will allow the paint that goes on top to stick better, but there's not as much paint in there. So go back to the 2-inch brush and let's just tap the top up here, and I'm pushing it up just a little bit. This will roughen up the edge a bit so it's not so smooth. So it looks like there's trees on top of this hill right here. And this could come down. Now I want to make a dark green. So let's take some of this color right here and mix it with cad yellow. Now we have a nice thick dark green. We'll grab a little more. A little more phthalo blue. Mix it together. Want a lot of paint. A little darker. All right. Go back to the number 2 fan brush. And let's get a decent amount of paint on here. Now we want to make sure there's no big chunks like that. I don't know if you can see that. Don't put that on there, because when you try to do any detail at all, that won't help. So there, it's nice and clean. Now let's just go and put in some trees. So just tapping, try to show you. So let's go with some more paint. And just taking a brush up and down. Tapping in some trees. Try to stagger them so they're not all the same. And we want to do this all the way through here. So we can even start here and add some. easy way to put trees in. So you definitely don't want a lot of detail because these are so far away. So it makes it look like a lot of pine trees. Some people like to refer to them as Christmas trees, all in the background. So I just turn the brush over. I'm just using one corner at a time. So I turn the brush over because I had more paint on it. So let's grab some more. Sometimes pushing it up will help load your brush so you get some decent paint in there. So you can use it a little bit longer. Okay. And don't cover up all your mist. It's one of those effects that a lot of people like, and they will buy your painting due to that. A couple more through here. And down here. Go to the small knife, clean this up a little, go to cad yellow. I had a little left on a knife. We're just going to go ahead and mix up a lighter green for highlights. So we'll get that on there. Go ahead and clean the brush with mineral spirits. Grab some of the lighter yellow, and again load the brush same way we did with the darker. Let's put a little land in here. Taking a little bit of highlights and going up with it, so it helps some of those little trees in the back stand out a little bit. let's take the 1-inch brush, go into a little bit of liquid white, and let's go right here. Okay, so drag it until you get the corner like that, and then just touch. Get some little trees back here in the background. And a couple of bushes over here too. So we don't want to do a whole lot right here because it'll take away from all the work we just did here. Alright, so now let's do that same thing. So a little bit more of the liquid white. I'll put in a darker green right here. Let's try a tad bit of the cad red. So just tapping in some color here. Through here. So this is a 1.5-inch brush. It's a little bit firmer and it's also thinner. So it actually gives me some control here. I want to go ahead and take a little bit of this, hold it down and just bring it down. You want to bring this straight down, and this is your water line. If you see anything you want to adjust, easily adjust it. Let's take this up a little bit higher and drop this down a little bit lower. This actually helps add a little bit of detail. This is the first blender brush. Let's go ahead and take this. And it's still got a little bit of the white in it. Add some white. A couple areas for highlights. Okay. So we don't want any paint on here at this point. So we'll just take this and wipe it off on a paper towel. straight up and down. I'm just barely touching this. This is actually just helping for the detail. Okay, so now to blur it out, really lightly take the blender brush and blend it across like so. This will help give you the illusion of water. And now take your palette knife into the liquid white. Try not to get any other colors on there. Okay. Let's make this flat because we don't want a whole lot on this brush or this palette knife. Scrape it off. Now there's just a small bead. We can start here. Just rub it in there. Now, sometimes you'll pick up a little bit too much paint off the canvas. So instead of transferring that, just wipe it on a paper towel. Grab a little more. And do the rest. Let's go. Now if you think in some areas you have a little bit too much, you're not quite liking it, you can actually take it and rub some in with a palette knife. And it'll make it look so it's not as vivid. Now to smooth this part out a little bit, I'm going to use the blender brush and just lightly go over the water. Try not to touch any of this up here because it will definitely take away from the effect. Just want to make the water look smoother. You don't have to. You can leave it exactly the way it is. If you want to make it look a little bit finer, more like glass. Just blend it out some more. Sometimes the bigger brushes tend to leave some brush marks. And sometimes the brush marks are fine. In this case, I just wanted to see it look a little bit smoother. There. Okay. So I'm going to take the palette knife and take some Prussian blue, some lamp black, a little bit of phthalo blue. We'll mix them all together, even some red. We're trying to make a really dark color. And we want this to be relatively thick. We don't want it to be a thin paint. And with the 2-inch brush, let's just go ahead and tap it in here. And let's bring up some shrubbery. So we'll go all the way across the bottom. Higher on the edges. So it helps frame in and bring your eye into the center. Tap into some more of the really dark. We'll start from this side. We'll go from here. Let's go. So the variations in height will actually help add character. You don't want it all be one level or flat or whatever. And let's see. This actually also helps you get familiar with some brushes. So it gives you an opportunity to do something that's really hard to make a mistake with. So you can practice. So I'm just trying to get the very bottom edge here. And tapping out the brush lines, so we don't want that. Okay. And now for something fun. Let's take this and bring it up a little bit into here so it overlaps. And again, to help create that distance thing, depth. There we go. Now with the 1-inch brush, we're going to go ahead and dip this into liquid white and take it right through. Let's take it through the green. And we'll go in one direction. Let's get a little bit more phthalo blue on there, a little bit more yellow. Get a lot of paint on the brush. And now just tap up. Barely let the brush touch your canvas. And just tapping in some shrubbery. Let's get a little more yellow. Get some highlights on there. Here. So now I want to do a little bit of white over here so it actually stands out. That'll work. And do it in layers. So again, it pushes the stuff back to the background. I'll grab some more yellow. And a little bit more white. Let's try a little bit of red. So now we could go to the fan brush, tapping in the same colors, get some paint on there. Now we have some of them that go up in height. Little cad yellow. And have fun with it. Painting needs to be something that you enjoy doing. Get some highlight on that. More. Put some through here. And one of Bob's favorite things is you can take your palette knife and actually scrape the canvas put some little twigs in here. Just makes it look a little bit more believable, and it's a simple thing to do. Alright, so I think we're about done. I'm just going to go ahead and take some of the Cad Red with some mineral spirits, mix them down really thin, and we'll go ahead and assign it. There we go. Thank you for joining me today, and if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell. The bell will actually go ahead and send you a reminder that there's a new video. So I try my best to do one once a week, but if there's something special that you want to see, definitely let me know and I'll try my best to actually get it out for you. Thank you guys very much.